Megan, will you please read the statement of presiding officer?
Of course. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the date, time, and public call-in information, were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and Morris Daily Record and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda.
All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, can you please take the roll?
First. Committeeman Dorsey?
Here.
Committeeman Ray?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Present.
Mayor Lavender?
Present. Before we start, I'd like to do a moment of silence for the victims of this horrific terrorist attack in Israel. And I know I'm speaking for the rest of the committee, our township employees. We just absolutely share the grief felt by our Jewish residents, our neighbors. The events that transpired over the last few days just absolutely abominable. And the cowardly terrorist attacks by Hamas and the violence perpetrated upon women, young children, and infants is just beyond our imagination in terms of its depth of evil. And so, as I said, we share the grief of our Jewish neighbors, and we pray that Israel can overcome this and exact the justice that it needs in order to live peaceably as they have since the days of Abraham. And so with that, let's have a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. All right. So first on the agenda is ordinance 526-23. This is a first reading and introduction. An ordinance adopting regulations for privately owned salt storage and supplementing and amending Chapter 12 of the Township Code entitled Stormwater Regulations. Randy, can you give us background on this, please?
Yeah, it's basically, this is an ordinance to comply with the EPA and DEP stormwater regulations regarding privately owned salt storage, setting what they need to do and what they need to report to the town.
Okay. Any questions from the dais? All right. So being that this is a first reading, we'll have a public hearing and second reading on October 25th. Can I have a motion to approve ordinance 526-23?
So moved. Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Okay. And I think we had ordinance 527-23, but we're pulling that, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So next, ordinance 528-23, first reading and introduction. An ordinance amending section 146 of the Township Land Use Ordinance to include requirements for maintenance and repair of stormwater management systems. And Randy, can you give us the background on this?
Similar background, and I'll give a further report, further detail with the EPA and DEP, but this is to come into compliance with certain regulations of the stormwater requirements of EPA and DEP.
Okay. Any questions from the dais?
Nope.
All right, so this ordinance is going to go to the planning board for a master plan consistency review, and then we'll have a public hearing and a second reading also on October 25th. So can I have a motion to approve ordinance 528-23?
So moved. Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Next, ordinance 525-23, and this is second reading and adoption. providing for improvements in and by the Township of Long Hill in the County of Morris, New Jersey, and appropriating $223,000, therefore from the Capital Improvement Fund and the Recreation Escrow Fund. Randy, can you give us a little update on this?
Yeah, this is for the Myersville capital improvement for the parking lot that we awarded last week. This is just directing funds from the capital improvement fund to come up with the difference of what we already had appropriated.
Okay, so what we're doing down there is rebuilding that parking lot to make it safer, right? Because we've had an issue with children walking in the roads. They're going to pave it, curbing. They're taking away some of the space from the existing tennis courts, right? To allocate towards parking, and the space that's left, they're going to repurpose as a pickleball court, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And being that this is a second reading, I'm going to open this to public hearing. Would anyone in the courtroom, Mr. Jones, like to comment? No. Anybody online, Megan?
There's a CA that would like to speak.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor. Can you hear me?
You sound like you're talking from a paper bag. Can you get closer to the phone?
Can you hear me better now?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Following up from the first reading, I was concerned that our engineer estimated this project to be $100,000. Now it's $223,000. One, I was wondering if we had an explanation, and then I want a reaffirmation that this $75,000 from the Recreation Escrow Fund is not for the future maintenance of Cannon Park Field. Those are my two questions on this second reading.
Randy's going to answer that, Chuck.
We'll answer the financial first. The turf field funds that we have dedicated to, if you will, to replace turf field in the future is located in the Open Space Trust Fund, which is officially called the Open Space Recreation, Historic Preservation, Farmland Preservation, and I'm sure I'm missing one other category, but typically called the Open Space Trust Fund. This is coming from the Recreation Escrow Fund, which monies go in there for programs and the like, and improvements to recreation facilities. This is the low bid. The other two bids, I believe, were substantially higher, almost $300,000. The increase, unfortunately, is because of energy costs with gasoline, the fuel, which obviously is a direct relation to this project with the amount of blacktop we'll be using, and inflation.
Inflation in 1 year, we went from 100,000 to an additional 123,000. That's like 120%. Gas didn't go up that much.
I can tell you that the engineer was comfortable after reviewing these bids, and it could be that they were off a little bit in their original a year ago their estimate, but again, this was substantially less than the two other bids we got that were close to $300,000.
Randy,
my only concern is that in 1 year we've gone from 100,000 to 223,000. Was the 100,000 estimate low?
I'm suspecting it was, since the bids actually came in much higher than that.
So one of the questions I would have is the scope for the project probably changed. There's probably more scope in it with the revised bid than the initial.
I think it since the engineer came here, I think over a year ago, the scope has changed a little bit because of DEP requirements and so forth. So that may have played a little part in it. But again, the initial bid was engineer's estimate was again, low for that item. We have had a huge increase in fuel costs, as everybody realizes, from last year to this year. And that does play a direct relation into a project like this.
My only problem is, I don't believe fuel costs have gone out that much. And I think we need to take a second look at this, have this, our engineer, see where things differentiate to go from 100,000 to 223 or 290 as the other two bids were at. This is, if it was 2 or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, I could understand it. But this was around a year, Randy. And this estimate by our engineer, or the requirements changed or whatever, I would recommend you defer this until you find an explanation of what happened on the additional $123,000 and not approve this tonight.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Anybody else online? Okay, all right, I'm going to close public hearing. So, can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 525-23?
So moved. Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Next, consent agenda resolutions. First off, would anyone like to pull a resolution or discuss or abstain from any? Okay. Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve resolutions 23-267 through 23-272?
So moved. Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia? Mayor Lavender?
Yes. All right, next, liaison reports. Matt, I'll start down at your end, DPW.
DPW, let's see, they are doing dead tree removal for the township properties and the right-of-ways. They're continuing pothole repairs again. If you see a pothole, you can report it on the township website. The email goes directly to the DPW. They're planting 21 trees for the Fall Challenge Grant, so that's always good news. And they're starting their fall cleanup, lawn maintenance on all the town properties. If anybody's interested in the DPW employment, you must have a CDL, and the application's on the town website. Randy, they still need a CDL or not?
We prefer CDL.
But don't make that a deterrent to applying.
Right, correct.
Okay. Preference for CDL, but go on the town website if you or you know anybody looking for a job. To date, there's been 179 fire calls to date. As for the police report, I'm sad we have to say this more often than not, please lock your cars and bring the keys inside. We had a car swiped on Mountain Avenue this week, just south of the train station. I'm sure it was a crime of opportunity. So please lock your car doors and bring the keys in, and that'll deter a lot of the crime that's going on. Thanks.
All good?
Yep.
All right, Guy, anything for first aid?
No, I'm actually waiting, but nothing at the moment.
Okay. Brendan?
Yep, thank you. I went to the HPAC meeting last Wednesday, and happy to report that there are a number of projects that are continuing, and some that have actually they've finished up. They have the 2 new places on the website that that they've worked on, and I believe is up and running, and they are continuing with their historic plaque program as well. A lot of the discussion, we're lucky that we have such an active group working for us. Certainly with the master plan, there was a lot of review and discussion, and they came, the chairman came to the meeting yesterday to deliver comments on the historical element, and so that it was it's always a pleasure attending that particular meeting, and I'm glad to see everything is going as well as it is for them.
Good. Anything on the firehouse? All good?
Oh, yep, so
Okay.
it's all good, thank you.
All right, Vic, what do you
All
got?
right. The recreation update is as follows.
We have slide 1, adult open play basketball starts on Thursday, 10/19. Great opportunity for some exercise and fun. Meet your neighbors too. Pre-registration on Community Pass is a must. Slide 2. All right, registration opens tomorrow for Saturday recreation basketball. Program runs from 11/18 to 3/2/2024. Register by November 1st for early bird pricing. Autumn in Long Hill photography contest has begun. Each Long Hill resident entrant can enter up to 3 photographs, open to all ages, and registration is free. Check out all the details on the website and enter on Community Pass. Rules are also posted on the website. All right. Halloween Parade presented by Long Hill Parks and Recreation and the Long Hill Chamber of Commerce is on Sunday, October 22nd at 3 p.m. sharp. Get those costumes ready, prizes for the judges, and favorite costumes. It's a free event for all Long Hill families.
The township committee committed to having a trunk at the event, you know that, right, Vic?
I am aware.
And are we using the 1970 Cadillac?
The Cadillac is definitely available, assuming that it starts. We are good. It is definitely in.
Although, is there going to be enough candy for that trunk to fill it?
Yeah, that's definitely a big trunk. All right, finally, we have slide number 5. The Long Hill First Aid Squad will sponsor a trunk or treat for the 4th year in a row in the parking lot at Town Hall. Saturday, October 28th, 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., and this is a free event. If you would like to enter a trunk in the event, contact Michelle Lipkin from the First Aid Squad at michelle.lipkin@verizon.net. Prizes for first, second, and third place for decorations and themes. And that concludes the recreation update. Thank you.
What do you have on beautification?
Beautification and open space are status quo from the last meeting. Nothing new.
Good. All right, thank you. All right, moving on, administrator's report. Randy?
Yes, Mayor, I want to give everybody an update on the EPA compliance order that we received a while back. Basically, the order was divided into 2 sections, several requests being remediated within 60 days. All of those requests were all those violations, if you will, were sent to EPA and DEP well in advance of the 60-day requirement. So we're waiting to hear anything, any issues that the EPA and DEP have on those. We're pretty confident that we have mediated all those violations. The next section, as you saw on tonight's meeting with the introduction of 2 ordinances, is more of, if you will, compliance with certain rules and regulations of the stormwater management. So they're giving us more time into January and I believe February of next year. Our goal is to try and have the majority of that done before the end of November so that we can communicate with EPA and make sure that we have everything in compliance. Now, keep in mind, these are 2 ordinances that we're introducing, and I don't want people to think that these are the only 2 ordinances that are required by the EPA. There are literally hundreds of various regulations and so forth that we are compliant in. So, we are aware of these 2, so we're correcting those issues, and we'll continue to work to correct the other concerns that they have. Community Day was postponed.
If we could stay on the EPA thing just
sure.
for a second, because I just want to kind of add a little bit of color. And thanks for keeping us in the loop on this when you went through the process. A lot of the stuff that was just fixed right now were things like materials containment down at DPW and some other pretty basic.
God bless you.
best practices kind of things from a Department of Public Works perspective. You know, the EPA came out with, DEP came out with new regulations in July, and so, you know, all the towns are catching up with it. We just happen to be one of the towns that they wanted to come see and work through this. And so the rest of this too is just tightening up all the procedures. It's a good thing. You know, it's good to see the township employees kind of embracing this and doing the, you know, getting this done on a timely
So,
basis.
Mr. Mayor, I happened to attend the planning board meeting last night, and there were some comments that were made that this was exceptional for Long Hill.
Yeah, not exceptional for Long Hill, so that's false.
Well,
Okay.
there was also a baseless claim made during that meeting last night that we've been fined by the EPA. Is that even remotely true?
No.
No.
Have we? No.
I will say this, in the compliance consent order, they do give you a fine if you don't comply with their order.
Right.
Okay, you know, they give you an up to amount. You know, again, I don't expect any type of fine by the EPA or DEP. We're gonna be compliant with everything that they asked for. And quite honestly, most of the and I'll use the term violation loosely, but most of the violations are pretty insignificant. So, you know, again, I don't want to demean anything with the stormwater management regulations, but, you know, we could be a lot worse off with blatant and outrageous violations, but we're not.
Right.
So we're taking care of the few issues that they have, and I believe we'll be fully compliant by the end of this year.
So as usual, Long Hill's ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
All right. Next, the discussion items. I'm going to lead off with one that's not on here because it just occurred to me.
What happened with the community cleanup?
Yeah, let
Oh.
me just do Community Day real quick. Community Day was canceled last Saturday because
Yes.
of weather. And unfortunately, it's not looking all that good for this weekend. But we have Community Day this Saturday. If you want to get a group together, or if you can come together, contact Colette in the administrator's office and let her know of your availability. You know, we will let people know probably Friday if the weather is not looking good. I think there's only a 89% chance of rain on Saturday right now. So unfortunately, we may have to cancel it. So, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
What a multi-talented administrator we have. Tonight, he's a weatherman.
Okay. Discussion items. Trees, River Road. Randy, remember that? We had some residents call us.
Yes.
And I think we were going to talk to Al and see what he could do to take care of those.
Yeah, we have so many trees, especially ash trees, that are dying from the top down. So what does that cause? It causes limbs to be falling off the top, but the bottom of the tree is in really good shape. These two trees you're talking about are very near the wires, so we tend not to have our public works guys tend to those, and we have limited height availability with our cherry picker. So Director Gallo is contacting a tree company through the co-op and getting a estimate to trim a bunch of trees at the top level to buy us time, if you will, so that we can bring them down in height and that the branches that are falling are not dangerous to passing by residents or vehicles or anything like that. So trust me, we've spent almost $50,000 this year in trees. We could budget $150,000 and it wouldn't be enough. There are so many trees that are in need of trimming the dead limbs from the top down. You know, ironically, we got a grant for the spotted butterfly.
Lantern
I'm sorry, lantern flies. Sorry, and you know, I've seen very little of those this year, but we haven't seen any grants for helping out with ash trees.
Okay.
So
opportunistically, you know, we're going to be looking at, you know, trees that pose an immediate hazard to the wires that if we can't get JCP&L to deal with it, we'll deal with it. So the folks on River Road, we're working on it. We just apologize that we have to work through red tape, but the red tape is real. All right, next, Myersville Park lighting. Randy, do you want to kick us off on that?
Yeah, I was asked by a committee person to see, with the Myersville Capital Project, right now, there's lighting not in that contract, any shape or means for lighting. However, talking with the engineer, if the township committee would like to see lighting over there for the pickleball court and lighting of the parking lot, it may be our best interest, obviously, to put in conduit below the blacktop before we pave and then have to dig it up. So if that's the thought process of the township committee, we would talk to the contractor that was awarded the contract to see how much of a change order it would cost and see if it can be feasible.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to even change the cost. Having the conduit under there, even if we don't use it, is just smart.
I agree. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Do it now.
So, I mean, this feels more like it's just a technical motion. So, is
Right.
anybody in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, does anybody object?
No, but to be clear, we're not saying we're going to light the pickleball courts. That's something.
No,
we
no, no.
have.
We're going to reserve
For
the
now,
right to do
it's,
it in the future.
you know,
Yeah.
This is something that takes place.
You're
during
not
daylight
saying,
hours.
you're not saying we're gonna light the pickleball courts and
I wanna be
the
clear.
parking lot.
I want to be clear to residents who are listening. We have no plans at this point. That's a discussion that would take place in the future. And parking for a lighting for a parking lot are not the same kind of lighting. So the conduit would have to
Right.
accommodate lower lights. The pickleball court, we will have a discussion
At
more
the
in depth and
appropriate
allow
time.
Residents to
Absolutely.
to speak
Oh,
on it.
absolutely.
All right. So, Randy, you want to communicate to them just put that minor change over?
Yeah, I'll talk to the engineer, and we'll talk to the contractor to see what kind of change order that would be and the cost behind it. And to reiterate, there are no capital funds set aside for lighting at this point.
Right,
Right.
it's just a conduit for the future discussion.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. So next, traffic safety audit, stop signs. Who wants to take this? Do you want me to take it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, as some folks were aware, there was a vote at the planning board to approve some construction down on Delaware that would involve continuing Delaware over to Morristown Road. And one of the things that was discussed in that was to address traffic safety when that happens. And so, thanks to Dennis Sandow, he dug up the ordinance that lists out all the stop signs in town. And so we understand where all those stop signs are, and we understand where they are in Delaware. That would be the ordinance that we would change at the time if we decide we want to put a stop sign in, a four-way stop, or a three-way stop, actually, it would be, on the corner of Skyview and Delaware. And the intent on that, and I'm wholly in favor of that, the intent on that would be to stop traffic for the purpose of safety after it exits Morristown Road and is about to enter the old neighborhood there.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to raise that to everyone's attention, to look that over so we understand what's going on. But, Jack, what would the process be if we wanted to approve putting a stop sign in there?
Yes, Mayor, the township engineer has to put together a report setting forth the reasons for the stop sign and the justification for it.
Mhm.
But since it's a self-contained road, we do not need Commissioner of Transportation approval. We just have to send it down to them after the fact.
Okay.
How long would this process take? The reason why I'm asking is so that we could try to be proactive and plan to do it, so when the cut-through is put in, we have a stop sign and there's no delay.
I'd be in favor of putting it in right now, and the net effect would be to stop traffic as it comes east on Delaware, stop when you hit Skyview before you turn left.
Perfect.
I think
And-
the first, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, is things like this have a habit of being forgotten after the fact.
Yep.
And it was very specific on the planning board as to what my vote was and why, right? And I wanted them to memorialize in that decision the fact that they would recommend to the township committee to address traffic safety there once that cut-through was put in. And so I'd be in favor of putting that in before the end of the year,
I would too.
with input from the neighbors, of course.
Yes,
I
but to
think
make sure it's done.
Yeah,
I think the first step is to authorize the township engineer to investigate it and prepare a report.
okay.
Okay.
So Randy, can you take an action on that?
Yep.
Any objections to that, first off, from the dais? Okay. Brendan, you good?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right, next. Best practice inventory.
Okay, I can take that, Mayor. The best practices inventory is something that we fill out every year. Some of the questions, I wonder where the state gets them from, but other than that, there's about 100 questions that they give to municipalities each year. This is, you go through and basically there's a couple answers, the old yes and no. There's a couple answers that say not applicable to a municipality, or that we're gonna maybe do something proactively from this date forward. So, some of the stuff that they put in this year's best practice questions were items that they changed the New Jersey Administrative Code in the Finance Board during the summer. So, these are annual filings, and obviously, we couldn't comply last year because they didn't exist, so we will be complying this year, obviously, and moving forward. The best practices gets also tacked on to, if you will, your state aid, that you could lose your final 5% of state aid if you don't meet a certain amount of positive answers. We meet that above the minimum, and we are not in jeopardy of losing any state aid. So I just wanted to bring this forward because one of the obligations that we have for best practices is that these best practices are discussed at a governing body meeting, at a public governing body meeting. If anybody wants to see the best practices, we certainly have them available and can give them to anybody.
Okay. Any questions for Randy? All right, and I believe we have a resolution then. Want me to read that? So Resolution 23-273, authorizing the township clerk to file certification of township committee review of 2023 best practices inventory. Can I have a motion to approve Resolution 23-273?
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor, Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
Yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Next is the parking permit. Who wants to take that? Megan?
You want me to? We approve the fees, and when the yearly parking passes will go on sale for the following year. We don't plan on increasing the pricing. We have had a lot more people looking to do daily parking passes at the Gillette and Sterling train stations. The last time we sold out of a Gillette parking pass was in 2020, ironically. And it's slowly ticked up. I think we have about 20 more we can sell this year, but we, I think, had 260 daily parking passes for Gillette this year. So it's something that we decided to start doing over COVID, but we don't sell out of any of them, so.
Okay, all
We
right.
don't
So,
sell out any of the stations.
No.
Whereas it used to be like a line out the door.
yeah. Okay, so basically, just to kind of play back what Megan said, the township is keeping the parking fees flat year to year, which is a bargain, considering we had 7% inflation last year. Millington Train Station is yearly $240, a half year after July 1st, $120. Sterling is $290 for the whole year, $145 after July 1st, and Gillette's $340, and after July 1st, $170. And the daily rate is $5, is that right?
Correct.
$5 gets you the whole day?
$5 gets you the whole day. At the Millington train station, there is a meter there that you can go up and pay, but for the Gillette and Sterling one, you have to put in a request to the township before 4:30. All of the directions are right on the website. We have to approve it, and then we send you a payment request.
Okay.
We asked in the comments that you let us know which date, so we can let the officers know which day you plan on parking there, so you don't get ticketed.
So we have a machine at
Millington.
Millington, right? Any reason why if we're gonna, well, it probably would exceed,
So I had that conversation with Administrator Barr this afternoon, maybe designating 5 spots for daily and putting in a parking meter. So I have executive admin assistant looking into how much it would be for the machines to put at those train stations.
mediocre minds think alike, right? I didn't include you, Megan. But the reality is, we would still sell dailies in excess of those 5 maybe, I would think.
You could, yes.
Only because the demand, say, we don't wanna leave spots empty, if they're available, so we
Correct.
could sell them after, is there a time when we sell, no, the day before, right? Cause Chatham does it after, 10 o'clock, I think. After 10 o'clock, they'll sell the daily,
For the following day or for the same day?
same day.
So they want to make sure that all their commuters are,
Correct.
yeah.
So we might be able to do that, set aside 5 for daily, and then say, instead of the day before, make it day of, but after 10 o'clock, so they're.
I think the advantage to Megan's office is that they know how many annual permits there
I know.
are. So, now you know how many dailies you can have.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know about holding off till 10 a.m. that day if I have something going on at 8 o'clock in the morning in the city. So, it's
Okay.
working right now, and in the past, we didn't have to worry about this pre-pandemic because they pretty much all sold
Yeah,
out
my
with
suggestion
yearlies.
is a solution
So,
in search of a problem,
yeah,
so
so
until it comes up.
we're working on it.
let's do it.
We're working on it.
Okay. So, can I have a motion to approve Resolution 23-274?
So moved.
Second,
Committeeman Dorsey?
Yes.
Committeeman Ray?
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia?
yes.
Mayor Lavender?
Yes. Okay, into old and new business. So, Kathy File is going to be resigning from the Beautification Committee. Can I have a motion to accept Kathy File's resignation?
Motion, and with a thank you to Kathy for her many years of service, so thank you, Kathy.
And I'll second that, as will the rest of us.
Yep, absolutely.
All in
It's-
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And next, we have Denise Murphy has raised her hand to be on the Beautification Committee. Can I have a motion to appoint Denise Murphy to
So
Beautification?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just add one thing, a late breaking news, the first aid squad did in fact have 46 calls in the month of September, which is, I guess, good news. That's slightly lower than their usual 2 per day, which would have come in at about 60. So it's good news that it's a little bit lower than in previous months. And
Good.
that's it.
Excellent. All right, so let's see, some announcements. Just a reminder, the voter registration deadline is October 17th. You need to register by then to be eligible to vote in the general election on November 7th. And next, Megan, I believe this is Board of Health. Are these the COVID vaccinations?
These were the flu vaccinations.
Flu vaccination. So the Burnsville Board of Health, so here are the dates if you want to get vaccinated from the flu. Wednesday, October 11th, from 9 to 11 at St. James Church, 184 South Finley Avenue in Basking Ridge. Thursday, October 12th, 9 to 11 a.m., Garabrandt Center at 4 Wilson Street in Mendham. Friday, October 20th, 9 to 11 a.m. in PPAC Gladstone Municipal Building in the gym, number 1 School Street in PPAC. There's some tongue twisters there. And then Thursday, October 26th, 3 to 5 p.m., Bernardsville Library at 1 Anderson Hill Road in Bernardsville. Any other announcements?
Yes. Let's see, the Myersville Grange Soup Contest, Friday at 6:30. Actually, I was there at the last one I did in the summer. They have some really good entries, so if you're hungry, go on over and support the Grange. And second is the high school football homecoming game is Friday. I'm sure Scott, your daughter will be there. She's on the band, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
And just the best the football team's played in God
Ever.
knows how many years, probably 40 years. So there's a lot of Long Hill kids on the team, so go out and support that after you go to the Myersville Grange. 7 p.m. kickoff.
Good. Any other announcements? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to open the meeting to the public. First for the courtroom. Anybody in the courtroom like to say anything?
Thanks, Megan. Tom Jones, Gillette. Just wanted to offer a suggestion on Resolution 23274 with regards to parking. With the whole working hybrid model, and I've seen the reduction in available spaces in Gillette as well as Sterling, and Millington seems to always have spaces. What's the likelihood of exploring an app, a parking app with designated spaces? Just did some quick math. If you go into work 2 days a week, in 52 weeks, $5 a parking spot, it's like $5.20, I think was the number I had. But you can designate some spots, a QR code, boom, you grab that spot's yours. And if you have a sign at that spot where the QR code is, those are your designated ones, right? So it's not someone who's got a permit, all of a sudden Gillette fills up, and now you've got contention between people who've paid to sit in that for that parking lot, that station, and people coming in for daily. So just a thought for future.
No, it's a good thought. Didn't we talk about an app at one point? Like a year ago?
Colette is going to be exploring an option, whether to put in a meter there or an app or something like that. We're gonna get pricing to figure out if it would be something you guys would want to explore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm sure
we're
there's going to be
looking into it.
logistics over a physical meter and an app. You know, they kind of go hand. You know,
Yeah, no,
Sure.
it's a great idea.
one cost versus another cost, and then goes from there.
Not that we have to do exactly what Chatham does, but what they have is they have the machines and they have Park Mobile is the one.
Yeah, I
that
think
they use.
Boxcar is another one.
Right.
Spot is another
So
one.
I'm very familiar with Park Mobile because several places around the state.
Yeah, yeah.
State, everywhere use that. And you're right, I did that as well. The break even 68 at $5, well, depending on which lot you're using.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so say 60.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to consider buying a yearly pass, if you think you're going to do more than 60 in a year.
It's going to be cheaper to
Yeah,
go that route.
right.
Yeah.
But also that gives evidence to what Matt had said, that what a great deal, or maybe it was Scott, what a great deal it is, the yearly pass.
Absolutely.
Relative to even $5 a day, I can assure you, it is much, much more expensive in towns like Chatham and
Oh, yeah.
Summit. So,
Yeah. I've actually parked over there when I had to go chase the train. So,
All right. Thanks, Tom.
all right, thank you.
Actually, on that, do we need to go to the trouble of getting an app? And this is probably going to betray my my lack of knowledge with current technology. But if you had a QR code, if we were designating 5 spots, right, then, and we had a QR code at each of them on a sign, could you not just hit that and then pay through a you know, like
A week or something?
no, on a daily basis, and instead of, it would be less complex. You would pay through the QR code you would pay the
the-
town for that day.
The app is very simple. So, for example, anywhere in the state that has, I think in other states have this app. It says what zone. So the zone, and I do it down in Trenton now. That one is Flowbird or something like that. So you put in 185, click. You already registered your car. It literally takes 5 seconds.
Oh, so this is an app that's already that covers the whole state or parts of
Right.
it. Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
Park
Yep.
Mobile is wherever it
Yep.
is. The one in Trenton happens to be something called Flowbird. Or,
Okay.
Not that you care. Yeah, it is in
Yeah.
fact Flowbird.
Oh, okay. I
But
thought
again, it's effortless.
right. I thought we were going to have to develop something. Okay,
No,
it's
no,
already
no.
there.
There are
Okay.
lots of companies
Yep.
that do it.
Yep.
You know who you're talking to?
Okay.
I turn on my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Good. All right. Anybody else? All right. Anybody online, Megan?
CA would like to speak.
CA. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor. I've got 5 topics. I don't know if I'm going to go all 5, or you want to go one by one, your choice.
Let's go one by one.
Okay, the first one is, you've had several executive sessions on the Millington Cafe, and you had one tonight on the Mount Laurel Consortium, and we're in the middle of the draft of master plan, a lot of discussion last night on affordable housing. So is there anything you can share with the public on those 2 topics? Cafe and the consortium.
Yeah, Jack will make some comments on Mount Laurel.
Yes, Mr. Renowitz, I just informed the committee that I received a letter from the attorneys who represented the consortium back in 2015 through 2017, and just said Mount Laurel's heating up again, but we really, at this point, have no idea where it's going. So it's just to raise the topic, that's all.
Cafe?
Can't comment on the cafe, I don't think, right, Randy?
No.
No. Sorry, Chuck. Number
Okay,
2?
Topic two. Last meeting, we talked about the HR consultant wanting to meet with the public, and you were gonna do some research on that, and there was no liaison update on the HR consultant.
Yeah, good catch. So, Randy, do you want to talk a little bit about that? I think we were talking about doing a poll with some residents.
I think it was the welcome wagon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working on several projects currently. We're working on what's called a welcome wagon letter with a follow-up survey to new residents coming in town to welcome them to Long Hill Township, and then follow up at some period after that with a questionnaire of how we did in servicing, if they had any interaction with any of the departments, and rate us, see how we're doing, if you have any concerns about anything going on in town and so forth. We're working with some if you will, educational classes concerning various the committee and various other committees about harassment training and so forth, which is endorsed by our risk managers actually. So we're working on that. We're working on fine tuning the job descriptions within the township. I think that's like all the projects we're working on right now, which is quite a handful that we're doing right now.
Anything on meeting with the public?
Right now, we are working with in-house things, and then at one point he did mention he would want to come to a public meeting and present, introduce himself and so forth, and go from there. I don't know exactly what he would entail right now with interaction with the public, but it hasn't gone away. It's just a matter of steps.
Okay,
Topic 3.
go ahead.
Delaware Avenue application before the planning board, they talked about speed bumps. I looked around town and we've got speed bumps at Town Hall and we have speed bumps on Sunny Slope. So is there a process for getting speed bumps, or how does that work?
Potentially. You heard our discussion about the stop sign though, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And, so are speed bumps an option there? Technically, yes. They would probably have to be the removable kind. I think this is a conversation, though, that we want to defer to the engineer. But, we're having that conversation, and we're going to do what we need to do to ensure safety there. And speed bumps are one of the options. Is there a reason why you would favor those over a stop sign?
No.
Okay.
Maybe both?
All right,
No? Overkill?
It might be overkill. Anyway, go ahead. Number 4.
number 4, ordinance tonight about the, resolving some of these EPA issues in, stormwater retention developments. We discussed last meeting, should have this occurred sooner on our behalf? And did we get notified by our professionals that we should be doing this in advance of tonight?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question? I really had a hard time hearing you.
Sure. Okay, the ordinance tonight
Right?
would resolve some of the EPA issues along with the storm water management issues. My question for you is, should we have been notified by our professionals to do these actions sooner
Got it.
rather than tonight?
Yeah, got it. Okay. So now that's a question I'll have to ask, for instance, Randy a question, having gone through this. I think we're resolving issues that were brought to surface by the new rules that came out in July. Is that accurate or partially accurate?
Partially accurate, that the EPA and DEP come out with new rules quite often. I don't want to say every year, but they do have a massive, they just had a recent massive change of rules this past year. And, some of this is in compliance for that. I can't answer for professionals of, 5-6 years ago, or even for that matter, 10 years ago, whether these rules and regulations were in place and, they just, if you will, slipped through the cracks of making sure that we got this stuff done. But, we were, honored with a selection of an actual inspection by EPA. And we're going to comply with what they point out to us. I mean, we've had a very good working relationship with the EPA and DEP so far, and I expect that to continue. And as you are I think, referring to, the biggest thing is compliance. We want to comply to EPA, and I'm sure that's what you want us, you would like to see us do. And we're working with the EPA and DEP to do that.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Topic 5.
5. Go ahead.
Did I misread the EPA report from, I guess, a month and a half ago? When I read it, I was on the understanding that we could be subject to a fine of $68,000 a day. Did I misread that?
I'm sorry. The first part, which report?
Okay, let me start up.
The EPA audit. Okay, yeah, I thought we answered that earlier. Randy?
Yeah.
No. Here's the question. I read the EPA report. There were comments tonight that was brought up about the planning board meeting. I read the EPA report, and it was my understanding that we, Longville Township, could be subject to a fine of $68,000 a day. Did I misread the report?
No, you did not. And exactly what you said. Could be if we fail to do what we were told to do in this compliance order.
Right, because Committeeman Dorsey said that we were misstating things last night at the planning board. I don't think that was the case.
No, I'm not saying you did. I'm saying there was a baseless comment that we were fined past tense, not that we could be fined.
He wasn't referring to you, Chuck.
No.
Oh, good, because I get great offense when what I read and interpret things, and I have a difficult time when I'm accused of misrepresenting what I read.
Okay, well, you weren't accused.
Great. Thank you so much. You're all so kind to me.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Anybody else online, Megan?
Kathy O'Leary would like to speak.
Sure.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes, we
go
can.
ahead.
I missed the comments that Mr. Dorsey made earlier about misrepresentation of the situation that we're in with the EPA. I know that I mentioned that report. I don't believe I said that we were being fined, just to set the record straight. But I would like to ask, I was involved with helping to draft the conservation element back in 2018, 2019. At that time, we talked about the need for a stormwater management plan. There still is no stormwater management plan in the master plan. And then after reading the EPA report, we find out that there is no stormwater management plan that is, since 2007. And this seems very concerning, you know, considering the number of surface water bodies we have in the township. A number of them are rated as C1, and that we are dealing with flooding, and we have quite a bit of wetlands. So did we not know that we needed to update our stormwater management plan? And if we didn't, why didn't we? I know that it was discussed amongst the master plan committee, and I do know that I did request a copy of it probably in 2019.
So I believe what the comment was, that the stormwater management plan has not been updated since 2007. We do have a stormwater management plan, and that is the 2007 stormwater management plan. The EPA did not say that we do not have a plan. They said that it needs to be reviewed and updated if necessary on a regular basis. So this is what we are doing. To say that we did not have a stormwater management plan is not correct. We do have one, but it's from 2007, and it does need to be updated, and that's what we're complying with.
Well, we don't have a stormwater element to our master plan. I believe that was what I was referring to. Yes, we have a stormwater management plan from 2007. That's what, more than 15 years old. And if you look at there's a list of responsible parties in that plan, and most of those people don't work here anymore. So there's also, there was a map, but only of the stormwater drains. There's no map of where those drains go to, where the piping is. So where is that in the process?
It's in the process of being updated in compliance with the consent order that we received. And you are correct that, part of that is the officials on the front page of the stormwater management plan needs to be updated. And we realize that. We are currently working on that. This is something that's not done in a 2-hour binge. This is a lot of time, a lot of effort by multiple employees within the town as well as our engineer. And we are currently updating that. We have until early 2024 to get to comply with the consent order, and we are on target doing that.
But I'm still, my other questions were, why didn't we know that we needed to update this plan? Whose responsibility was it?
So in other words, you want to find fault, Kathy. Thank you for your comment.
I think it should be concerning to you, okay? If the purpose of government is the health and safety of the residents, correct? And we do live in an area where we flood. Yet we have a master plan that does not describe flooding, and we have a master plan that has no stormwater elements, and we have a stormwater management plan that is 15 years old.
And we're in the process of updating it. We're going through the process. It's getting fixed now.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just interject.
Yeah, go
one
ahead,
thing.
please.
Stormwater management is not why this town floods.
Right.
The Army Corps of Engineers and a litany of engineers have testified to this. So don't conflate the two. They're two separate issues.
Well, didn't you just find a drain? Didn't you just find a drain on Madison Street that was clogged? And now the flooding over there is
Mr. Mayor, I'll
better?
finish my comment.
Thank you, Matt. Did I call you Matt? I did. Thank you, Guy.
You're welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we did find a drain that was plugged, and our DPW guy went over there and he fixed it. That's what he does.
Right, but that is part of this, the stormwater system that we have that was not functioning properly, that was causing flooding.
So every time we find a problem, you're going to go back and say, why didn't we find it sooner, right?
No, I think that 15 years is an awfully long time to not update your stormwater management.
Well, guess
plan.
what?
Don't
It's
you-
getting
don't
done
you
in
agree?
2023 on my watch. Thank you for your comment. Next.
If there's anybody else on Zoom that would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now.
I think
Don't
we
see
have
anybody.
one person in the courtroom that still wants to talk. Please.
Thank you. Good evening. Tom Groskopf, Gillette. Just wanted to say thank you to the Master Plan Committee, all the people who, over the years, many years, probably too many to list, but a lot of work went into it. And most people don't realize is it was from unpaid volunteers who spent countless hours. Now, is it perfect? Absolutely not. I'll be the first to say. But perfection is the enemy of the good. It's something's out there, it's being crafted, it's going to be made much better, and we'll be in compliance, and that's a good thing. We should all rejoice in that. Is it perfect? Is it what everybody wants? No. Is any document ever? No. People even fought over the Constitution, did they not? I do want to remind you about something that was once, I used to like getting it quarterly. It was the quarterly newsletter that we used to get from, I think, Brendan, you were the last mayor who sent that out. It was right in the beginning of COVID, and we haven't seen it since. And unfortunately, that's a loss from COVID that I would like to see remedied and get back to normal, get back to the beautiful world we once had, although it'll never be the same. But
I agree 100%.
Totally. We've,
Randy's writing it down right now.
yeah.
and we've
even if it's
talked
not
about
done
that.
quarterly, even if it's just done semi-annually,
No, I think
Yeah.
Just
quarterly,
little-
I think quarterly was a good
Yeah.
cadence, and I think we should, well, I don't
That'll be
want to
about-
bully everybody, that's my opinion.
No, totally. I think it's a great idea. You know, and again, you know, understand one thing. We're all volunteers on this board, and there's only 24 hours in the day. We've got wives and children and jobs. And this has been one heck of a year in terms of straightening stuff out around here. And I think when we get to the end of the year and we go back and we look at all the things this committee got done, it's going to be surprising. But we've talked about that. You are absolutely right. We need to get back to that. It's why we're doing HR. It's why we're trying to improve communication. It's why we're trying to change the culture. And the culture changes here. It changes in the periphery with the volunteers, and then hopefully it changes out in the pews out there in the chairs. So you're preaching to the choir.
just a reminder.
Thank you.
But thank you all, and thank you all for your service.
Thank you,
All right.
thank you for bringing the volunteers of the planning board. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That
That's a long
is-
time coming.
I served on the planning board for 5 years, on the board of adjustment for 8 or 9, I forget. But back to the planning board, people don't realize the work that went into that document. And Brendan can speak to it. Vic can speak to it. I can speak to it because it started way back when. Basically, Ms. O'Leary, there's Tom Jones. And by the way, there's the gentleman right there who took the baton and brought it across, is about to bring it across the finish line. So thank you.
I think while we're doing that, I think Dawn Richardson
And-
absolutely.
You were there.
Yeah.
Tell
Dawn,
me.
Dawn Richardson chaired the the master plan committee, and if he's watching, he's a very humble guy. He's going to be very angry with me, but the work that he did over the past 2 years has been he really did a yeoman's job, and I really want to publicly recognize Don for all the work that he put in, and for being the one who basically brought in all of the disparate views and opinions and really distilled them into what I truly believe is a great piece of work. Is it perfect? Absolutely not, but it gets the job done, and I think the lessons learned over the last 10 years are going to stand as well as we move forward into the next master plan. We learned a lot.
And last but
Thanks to
not least,
everybody.
last but not least, you know, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Dennis Sandow. And I don't think this process at all could have happened without his institutional knowledge and his tenacity and the sacrifices that he's made to this town. So if Dennis is listening, we all love him, and you know, want to make sure he understands.
Mr. Grosskopf pointed out, the list is probably far too, we will forget names, but this goes back to Tom Baer, God bless you, rest in peace. Greg Aranio was on that original master plan committee, Guy Roshto. I'm trying to think, and that, I can assure you, those meetings, which I chaired at that point, were contentious. So I loved your analogy of the Constitutional Convention, where, I mean, that got bloody. And I can tell you that the meeting, and Dennis, if you're listening, he will remember, he and Tom Baer, who loved each other, but it was a love-hate relationship, and the hate came out in that meeting. So, you know, bringing it across the finish line, Don Richardson, Tom Jones, the current members of the planning board, Scott, Brendan, a big shout out to all of you. Pam Ogens has helped along the way.
And Chuck.
And Chuck.
That's
yeah,
right.
Chuck's
And
been a big influence.
Now, it's not done yet, so let's not spike the
Yeah.
football, all right? So enough with this love fest. Tom, sit down. He's going to keep talking.
I have an assurance from Mr. Jones that it will be done.
Right, all right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Tom.
All right.
Oh, wait, can we put an end to this nonsense of the public meeting with the HR consultant? That's not the purpose of HR. I can't walk into Ernst & Young and say, hey, I want to meet with the HR consultant. They're going to say to me, do you work here? No. Are you an outside vendor that works with our employees? No. So they're going to tell me to go pound salt.
You know who you'll meet with? Security.
Yes, exactly. So if the public wants to meet, if there's a problem and you have a problem with an employee or complaint, you report it to the
Randy,
administrator.
yeah.
The administrator probably gives it to HR to do an investigation. This isn't a public, it's the purpose of the